Welcome to a nourishing midweek lunch hour conversation with Spokane's newsmakers, thought leaders, and popular entertainers. Spokane Talks Live is brought to you by our friends at Homes for You and Breakthrough Incorporated. Welcome to Spokane Talks Live. Welcome to Spokane Talks Live. Kent Adams here. Hope you're having a great day. It's January 10th, and it's not as cold as it was a few weeks ago, but here we go. And our guests today are going to be Kirsten Davis from the Better Business Bureau. We've got a couple of little background things to tell you about on that, too. Ken Sachs from the Spokane Association of Realtors. He's their board president this year, 2018. He's also the host of Real Estate Talk here on Spokane Talks Online. And Philip Tyler, who is a community leader, is going to come back. He did, about a month ago, a special Better Health program on the suicide of his son. And we're going to do a little follow-up and find out how things are going, because both Philip and I and others here at STO kind of believe we ought to continue the conversation. So all next on Spokane Talks Live.
For the Inland Northwest's most comprehensive sports report, think outside the porch with spokesman.com. For just 99 cents for the first month, you'll enjoy unlimited digital access to the news and sports news that affect you most. From EWU to WSU, from Northwest Preps all the way to the Seahawks, we're the local authority that makes sports in the Inland Northwest different than the rest, better than the rest. On your phone, on your desktop, and on your tablet. Subscribe to the digital experience with spokesman.com.
I'm Lexi Dyson. I am an archaeological technician for the Tahoe National Forest in California. Archaeology is perfect for me. It kind of combines all of my loves: history, my love of culture, my love of arts and science. As a girl, you don't really get told that science is for you. Like when you look on TV, you always see men in lab coats. I was a freshman at North Central. Randy James was one of my biggest cheerleaders. Randy was one of the first people who told me that you are good at this, you can do this. His favorite phrase that he would say to us that really stuck with me is, Yato, you are the ones. We're the ones who are going to make the difference. We're the ones who are going to make the change. You really start thinking, oh my gosh, yeah, we are. I am the one that's going to do this. The work we're doing in Tahoe definitely is going to be here for good. Our purpose here is to preserve things and to make them last, to be here for good, for those future generations to enjoy. I love the variety of it and being able to see things that nobody else really gets to see, and having that touch of history and connection to people in the past. I am helping people by preserving their own heritage, their own resources. One of the things I love about STCU is using the STCU mobile app, no matter where I go. It could be here in Tahoe National Forest, I could be back home, or it could be clear away across the country. I've been so impressed by their willingness to help and just be there where I need them to be, basically. It gives me a sense of home, even though I could be 3,000 miles away, 6,000 miles away, which I have done with STCU, and I've never looked back. I'm Lexi Dyson, and STCU is here for good.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Welcome to Spokane Talks Live. Kent Adams here, and my guest, as it has always been the last year or so, is Kirsten Davis. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did. Yep,
why
you
did
got it.
Why did I hesitate this time on the last name?
I don't know. It happens.
You know Kate Hudson from Visit Spokane?
Yes.
Her son is Davis.
Oh,
and so
okay.
she was in last week. All right.
Gotcha.
You guys are going to confuse me. I need cue cards to keep track here. It's still scam time, isn't it?
You know, it's always scam time,
Yeah.
unfortunately. It's just getting more and more prevalent all the time. And, you shoot me emails a lot and ask me questions.
Well, just this morning here at the studio, I got an email from UPS telling me that my package was coming and I just needed to sign in. And I'm going, well, number one, I don't have a UPS, I mean, they don't have a package coming.
Right.
And number two, UPS isn't going to send it to me, right?
Typically, the delivery company is not going to send you the notification. The
company you
that
bought
you
it
purchased it from
right.
is going to send you a tracking number. So
Right.
that's a little secret tip too.
Yeah,
so.
but it looks so official.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
It
they're
really
really
does.
good at it. They're
Yeah.
really good at it. Yep, that's why it works.
Cut
yeah.
and paste, yes.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
But what else is going on? Last night there was that on KHQ, there was the story. I don't know if you caught it, but it was the story of a teacher who literally left their classroom of special ed kids out in the valley because she got an email that said if she didn't, they were going to come arrest her at school and everything else, and she had to buy a pay-ahead card. I'm not saying
Right.
it correct, and so forth. And she finally kind of figured out it was a scam going on, and that's happening a lot, isn't it?
It is, and it's usually the more traumatic,
Yeah.
you know, the situation is, and especially with those.
Because it makes you act fast.
Oh yeah, I mean,
that's the point.
They really prey on your fear.
Yes.
And they are really convincing, and they're very aggressive about it. So it's common for that to happen, and we've actually pulled together a little report of all the scams that happened in the Northwest
Oh, okay.
over 2017, just to kind of give people, you know, an idea of what's happening out there,
Right,
and
right.
have their radar up. So basically, and these are all reported on our BBB scam tracker.
Okay.
So, but it is in our region. So basically, the most scams reported were phishing scams that totaled about $4,800.
And we're not talking about phishing like for
we're talking
trout.
about phishing, PH phishing,
Okay.
yes. But that UPS is a perfect example, that email. That's
Exactly.
a perfect example of a phishing email,
Right.
where they are trying to get you to sign up for an account and put in personal information for
Right.
that.
And they'll send out millions of these.
Oh, yeah.
And it only takes a few people to do that at $1,000 a crack to make some money.
Yeah, well, or $10 or $25, or just your personal information is worth something.
Right, right.
So those are really the most commonly reported, followed by travel and vacation scams. We heard kind of that the "Can you hear me?" phone scam
yeah.
that was going through, and those were usually linked to travel and vacation scams. And then online purchases, that is a high one reported. We had about 121 reported, but for a loss of over $30,000.
Wait. You said $30,000.
Yeah, so just of those 121 scams reported, those totaled $30,000
Wow.
in loss.
Wow.
So those online scams are going to, or those online purchases are going to be the things that, you know, are legitimate companies. The item never shows up, different things like that. So again, that's why you always want to make sure you're working with a reputable company online and make sure that they're a secure site. And then the scams with the most dollars lost. So kind of similar to what happened with this teacher is a debt collection.
Okay,
So
right.
again, if you've missed jury duty, that means you owe money, which I don't know how that's connected. But again, they come up with a really convincing
And they don't
story.
call you or email you.
Right.
For missing jury
exactly.
duty, okay?
Exactly. But debt collections, we had 60 scams reported for a total of $31,000, which, you know, that's about $500 a pop on average.
Wow.
So
that's for the Northwest or for
yeah, that's just in the Northwest.
Northwest, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
in Washington.
Wouldn't want to be any one of those.
Well, absolutely, and you know, it's hard to go back and think of what have I paid, what haven't I paid, and they come up with something that sounds vaguely familiar, or you know, they know enough about you maybe that they can give you something.
Well,
that
and you're in a
sounds
hurry. You do
convincing.
it on your phone because you want to just take care of it.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
I mean, we're all in that kind of mode today.
Exactly.
I'll just take care of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then the other one that's a big one again are those online purchases, like I mentioned.
Right.
You know, that's a lot of money going out the door that people
No kidding.
wish they had. So,
Yes.
So that's kind of rounds up what happened in Washington with scams this last year, and so those debt collections, phishing,
Yep.
you know. And then we're going to talk about tax scams.
Okay.
because
Oh, yes.
We are entering right into tax season.
Now, we're not talking about the tax scams that some of the liberals have been claiming politically, right? Okay, because we've all heard that. Okay, you're talking about legitimate or illegitimate tax scams.
Well, these are
to get your
yes,
money.
absolutely. These are ways to get your money, ways to get your identity, things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So. our W-2s are going to be landing in mailboxes
By
or
the
on
end
our
of this
desks
month.
by the end of this month.
Right.
And I think you can file as soon as January 23rd your taxes.
It's the last week of January
Yeah.
sometime. Yes.
So we're right in it. And those, those W-2 forms are really distinct. They're a different size. They are in a specific envelope.
Anyone that
They're
looks at the
easy
envelope
to
knows what
spot.
it is.
Yeah. So that's why it's really important to secure your mailbox. It's really important not to just leave that laying on your desk when it,
Right.
when you're at work. Not to leave it laying in the front seat of your car when you run into the store, things like
Right.
that, because that has your most personal
Well, if you have an
information on
outdoor
it.
mailbox like we do, or a rural,
Yes.
I can't even say it.
Rural.
Yeah, easy for you to say now. Mailbox. I mean, you really are vulnerable if it doesn't go into your home and so forth.
Absolutely, yeah. And mail fraud is a big thing.
Yeah.
And that's how people get, credit card accounts started in other parts of the country under their name, and then those bills just keep going to that address under your name, and
Yep.
so it leads to a lot of different things. So identity theft is a big one with those W-2
Okay.
forms, but it's also when those IRS imposters are going to start calling and saying
Okay.
you can't get this year's refund because you owe money from last year or from 1986.
Let's take care of that now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So again, the IRS is not going to call you, and so
I've heard it's good to file early, because then if someone else tries to get in and
with your
file
information.
with your information, then it's already been processed and they're not apt to send you a refund check
twice.
or something.
Yeah, that does make sense. Actually, that was my husband had his identity compromised, and
no.
that's how we found out was someone had used his information.
So
to
you file, and
a-
then you can't get
yeah,
anything
and
back.
And he got a notice that someone had filed that he had filed an L&I claim. And he hadn't, and it was for someone in Seattle. So that's where you want to be careful. Just pay attention, know what you're doing. And then the other thing is filling out your tax returns are complicated. It's not the easiest thing to do, especially if you're maybe self-proprietor,
Yes.
or own your own company, small business, whatever that may be. But make sure that you're working with a reputable tax
Not a
professional.
fly-by-night. I open my office
Right,
tonight.
or someone
Yeah.
that offers to fill out all the forms for you, and you just want to make sure you're working with someone reputable and with all the licensing, and
Yes,
and
yes.
that they're not charging you fees that they shouldn't be charging you,
Right.
things like that. So make sure you look that up on bbb.org and make sure that you're working.
That's
with
what's so
someone
beautiful
reputable.
is all this information, while you bring it to us, is available.
It's
all you have to,
it's so
and today
easy.
we all have the capability of getting
Absolutely,
online.
right from this fancy
Yeah.
little thing we call a phone, but I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't either. My wife
So.
calls it a camera.
Yeah.
Oh, and then she uses it for a phone too. Welcome
Exactly.
to 2007.
Exactly.
18, I guess it is. Yeah.
Yes, here we are.
Yeah. So what else?
So you had some questions
Okay,
about
I
this.
wasn't sure if I was going to get to
No,
this.
no,
okay.
go ahead.
Well, and I printed it out, which is useless because our red ink went out this morning, and I knew if I changed our red ink, I would have red all over my hands. But I on Facebook the other day, I saw this, and it talks about think before you donate, something to think about before you make contributions. And they include a panel for the Red Cross, March of Dimes, the United Way, UNICEF, and Goodwill. I started questioning all of it, and then the last one really kind of, to me, slapped me in the face and said, because Goodwill is a very catchy name for his business. They talk about an individual owning it as a business, and then he gets the stuff donated and sells it for a profit. Well, all I've ever learned is that Goodwill is a non-profit, not owned by an individual,
person,
and all that. And then I went back and looked at the others, going, okay, there's a question about all of this. This stuff floats around on the internet, on
Absolutely.
Facebook,
Absolutely.
and it can make you stop and think, and so I sent it to you, and your response I thought was great. Well, I looked it up.
Yeah.
Like you could have done it, Kent.
Well.
But you looked it up, and they're all legit.
But that's the good news, is that there
Yes.
are resources
Yes,
to,
that's my point.
if you take that little extra step,
Yeah.
there are resources to find that information out,
Yeah.
and that are legitimate. So I looked every one of those agents or every one of those organizations
Right.
up on our give.org, which is the
Right.
Better Business Bureau.
That has a rating system.
It has, and it doesn't go through. It has 20 checkpoints. who the board members are, you know who the staff is, what is their percentage of spending for administration costs.
Exactly.
They have a 20-point checklist,
Right.
And it is all transparent right there for you to see.
Right,
and
right.
if they don't disclose that, then and they can't be an accredited charity if they don't
Right.
disclose this, that
Then
information.
it's up to you at that point if you want to take the chance.
Absolutely.
Right? Sure.
But there's also Charity Watch. There's Charity Watch, right? Or Navigator. GuideStar is also another one, guidestar.org. Or Charity Navigator. There's a few of them that you can check. It's not just
Well, you can
us.
always start with the BBB.
Absolutely.
And go there.
BBB.org or give.org takes you right to that charity
Okay.
and will give you information.
Great,
Yeah.
great. You know, with all this we're being bombarded with these days, and we've gone through that in the last 10, 12 minutes, it really is up to us to take the extra 2 minutes to check on some things, because the good information, the reliable information is out there.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's what, unscrupulous people are trying to do. They are
Yeah.
counting on the fact that we aren't going to take that
Right.
extra time because we are moving so quickly today.
Exactly.
And so anytime there's extra volume of communication, lots of confusion in the marketplace, that is when they strike.
Right. Now, one last thing. This is your last time here in the BBB hat, right?
It is,
What is
yes.
happening with Kirsten?
Well, I am going to taking the opportunity to work with the Spokane County 911 Communications Center.
Aha.
And we'll be doing internal and external
Okay.
communications with them. So I may be back in
I
a
was gonna
different
say-
capacity if you'll have me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just have enjoyed being able to share this information with folks, and I'm sure that someone will be on board to come back and give you this information
great.
as we move
Well,
forward.
number one, we appreciate all you've done, that you've come in that second Wednesday like today of every month for the last year or two. I've kind of lost track, but
Yeah.
it really has been helpful. You know that I have learned a lot,
Yes.
and I think our viewers and our listeners before then and so forth have learned a lot, and I think you're right. We all get so busy. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, absolutely.
We look
I enjoy
forward,
it. I
look
enjoy
forward
it.
to seeing you in your new role.
Yes.
And so if we just call to find you, we just call 911, right? I'm kidding. Of course, don't do that, people.
That's part of my job, is to
Education.
explain when and why to call.
Okay, well, it appears you'll need to come back and do some training here.
Yeah.
Kirsten, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to
Oh,
have you
thank
here
you, Ken.
as always. Okay,
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome to Tom Sawyer Country Coffee.
Tom Sawyer Country Coffee only roasts the finest organic coffee for our signature blends. Enjoy a cup at our coffee shop and local businesses and organizations across the region.
I'm Tom Sawyer, and we choose the Pacific Northwest.
Last year alone, Avista customers saved over 53 million kilowatt hours of energy. Enough to power more than 4,000 homes for an entire year. Way to save, everyone. Way to save. Find your way to save at avistautilities.com.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org. Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live, and I'm pleased to have my guest here. Gosh, you just keep adding the titles, don't you? Ken Sachs, you are a realtor here in Spokane. You have been the host for the last, 2.5
Couple years.
of Real Estate Radio, which we now call Real Estate Talk,
Yes.
because we've added the video side of things. And then you've taken on, last year you were the president-elect of the Spokane Association
Correct.
of Realtors. And so here we are in 2018. You are the president.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we have the president's song and all that? Anyway.
Right.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm well. I'm busy, but
Yeah.
I'm well, and I like to be busy, so it's a good thing, right?
Yeah, it keeps you out of
Why
our
my
hair.
wife calls me her 5-year-old.
You know, you were you asked yesterday and again today, do you still want me to come in? What's there to talk about? And then the first thing you walk in, and when you walk in during the commercial break, was after hearing Kirsten talk about scams, is Kent, there are a couple real estate scams going on out there.
There are.
So let's go directly to that to start with, okay?
Yeah, the biggest thing, probably the last couple of years at least, is a wire fraud scam.
Okay.
And how that works is you're in a real estate transaction, you're a buyer.
Right.
And so I'll give you the nutshell version. The closing office will email you and say, hey, Kent, change of plans, wire the down payment to us. Here are the wiring instructions. This will speed up the process.
Yeah.
And then you might say, well, wait a second, via email, this doesn't sound right. We agreed I'm coming in with funds. No, it's okay. Wire it. Trust us. And then you email your agent, hey, Ken Sachs, I thought I was going in to sign. And Ken Sachs, you think, is responding back to you from Ken Sachs's email. No, it's okay, Kent. Go ahead and wire
they've
it.
really
Listen to them.
gotten sophisticated.
Yes. And what has happened is that the scammer has infiltrated both the closer's email and the real estate agent's email
gosh.
without anybody knowing,
Yeah.
because they delete and they do all these things that I
Yeah.
could never do if my life depended on it.
Me too.
And boom, there you're out. I mean, there was a time in 2 months, just from 2 incidences, it was over $100,000 gone.
Well, I'm thinking out loud here, and I won't go into details, but my son just sold his house, and he sold it for cash. We're talking about a couple $100,000 that could be transferred, that could be lost.
Yep.
You know, now that's not his money yet until it's received, but
Right.
still,
It's a
the
super
buyer,
big deal.
You know.
It's a super big deal. So I
Oh
tell
my
my
gosh.
buyers now, I've got disclosures, but I tell them,
Right.
don't ever wire anything until you call me personally, and don't call the number on that email which
Yeah.
says this is the number. You call that
You
closing
know my
office
number.
directly.
Call me or see me in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a
Isn't
big
it worth
deal.
it for the dollars involved to even see
Oh.
you in person? Come by the office, have you come out to the car
Yeah.
and say yes or no.
So
Yeah.
that's a big thing.
Yeah.
The other one that's
Wow.
been going on for, gosh, at least 15 years.
Yeah.
And you see it surface every now and then people say, oh my gosh, this is going on. Well, it's been going on for like 15 years. Craigslist.
Okay.
So
The rentals.
yes, so
Yes.
I list your house.
Yes.
And so I have photos of your house
Right.
on our multiple listing service.
Right.
Well, a scammer will go and pull that photo,
Right. Yep.
place it on Craigslist, and let's say a market rent for your house would be $2,500.
Right.
They will post it on Craigslist. Hey, I'm being deployed. I need to rent it quickly.
Right.
This
$1,800.
$1,000 a month, and they'll give this, woe is me explanation. Just send me the money, and I'll send you the check. Gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
And we've seen that on TV
That's
and then
been
in the
going on
newspaper recently. Just unbelievable that
Yeah.
actually that people would fall for that though too.
Well,
but
like you
we're
mentioned
all busy.
earlier,
We're all busy.
if I put out 100,000 feelers,
Yes.
and one bites,
Isn't
worth
that
it.
the truth?
Yep.
I mean, that really is. That is the truth.
Yep.
Now I'm starting to think about the people I just hired from via Craigslist. No, never mind. They're good people. Okay, let me ask you this: as you look at, I mean, to take on the presidency of a board like the Spokane Association of Realtors, let's face it, real estate is a real economic driver here in Spokane. Good things are happening right now
Yes.
for everybody, basically. But why would you take that on? I mean,
well, sure. Fair question. I was asked.
it's not because you have spare time. I know that.
No. Like so many of us that are in leadership,
Yeah.
we were asked.
Okay.
And it's no different with me. I was asked.
Okay.
And
you
so
felt a responsibility.
You feel a responsibility. I don't want to. I've been in this industry for 25 years, maybe. I might have stopped counting. And I don't want to be that guy.
Stopped counting 50 years ago. But
I heard it best from a colleague who's a real estate agent in Utah, where you don't want to be that guy showing up at the potluck with
Yeah.
a pitcher of water.
Oh, okay.
Like, no. We give back. We want to
Yeah.
give back. A big part of me, it's my duty.
Yeah.
And it's for all of us. I campaigned on it that we're all together. Yes, we're all competitors, but we are in this together.
Well, the SAR, the Spokane Association of Realtors, has been really involved in the community.
Yes.
Celebrated a couple of years ago 100 years here in Spokane and all the other things that go with it. You've got a great executive director, Rob, and who's done a great job. The communications, public relations guy is a little
Well, we're working on
squeaky.
that. We're working on that.
Tom MacArthur, and I
Yeah,
only say
yeah.
that because he's a friend. And yeah. But a great organization.
Yes.
And I've been pleased to work with it in the past, and here as part of of what we're doing with this real estate talk. How is the economy right now? How are we doing? I keep hearing with the folks that come in on your program and others that we're still in a pretty tight market.
It's a tight market. It's still very much what we call a seller's market.
Yes.
A seller's market, meaning inventory is down.
Right.
And, probably since July, where are we? We are in January. So, the last 6 months, we've had a dip in inventory.
Really?
Yes, we have.
It keeps going down?
Yes.
Oh,
and what's interesting is new construction is still adding to inventory, but that tells you what the rate of sales is.
Yes,
that it is overcompensating for the new construction.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's definitely a seller's market. We don't really see a shift in that until we get to a price point of about $475,000.
Okay.
That's where we start seeing a shift to that neutral to maybe even a little bit of a buyer's market.
Okay.
But it is definitely a seller's market. It has been. It still is. What that means is, as a seller, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
As a buyer, it's not so much fun.
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you that you've done a couple of these programs, and the last one I think you did was a holiday one about selling and buying during the holidays.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I sounded so professional to my son when he was asking me questions about, oh my gosh, he found a farmhouse, okay, and made an offer on it, and then he's got to sell his house and put it up on the market within 5 days and all the other kinds of things. And all that has gone great. And he was worried because that was the Friday. He put his house up for sale on the Friday before New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, give it a couple of days. People
Sure.
are just getting information, and think about what you're going to be doing on New Year's Eve and so forth.
Right.
And then on Tuesday, people look, and he sold it Wednesday.
Yes.
And the same thing about buying. He found a willing buyer who needed because of a divorce situation and everything else.
Yep.
And it just worked out. But I was telling him, well, if you don't believe me,
Yep.
watch our holiday special on buying and selling during the holidays.
That's right.
And he thought I was so smart.
Well, you think about
I took
it.
full credit
and
for
one
it.
of these days, I'm going to get you to put a whiteboard up here.
Well, we're
'cause
going to put a
I'm used
monitor
to-
up here.
Okay, because you think about it. Think of when you want to sell, do you want a lot of competition or a little competition?
yeah.
When you sell, you want a little competition. So when do you have the least amount of competition? This time of year and during the holidays.
When people don't want to be bothered.
Oh, gosh, people don't buy during the holidays. Well, you know what? Yes, they do. And when I moved up here, that's when we bought because that's when we have time.
Well, my son just did.
That's when we have time to look at the market.
Yeah.
So you want the fewest amount of competitors that would position you the best as a seller.
Right. And then buying his house, the people that are buying it, not only all cash, but they're not even moving in till May.
Sure.
So here's a good example of what people will say, well, wait till spring. No. The buyer who wants to move in spring is already here looking.
Yes.
I don't know if they're working here or living here or what, but they're at least in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's the goofiest dynamic
I
where
know.
sellers are like, no, let's wait until spring because that's when everybody puts their house on the market.
Well,
wait a second. What kind of sense does that make?
And the other thing your guest said is, it's not bad to walk through a house when it smells Christmassy.
No,
I
not bad at
remember
all.
that. Isn't that the truth? You know?
Yeah. Even I was at the dump this weekend. It smelled Christmassy. And we look, and there's all these Christmas trees. It was the most beautiful smell in a dump I'd ever experienced.
Well, okay, so we've gone from scams to dump.
Yeah, okay.
What can we see coming up on Spokane on Real Estate Talks? You got a couple programs coming up in the next few months. The Olympia has started, so my guess is you guys are watching that.
Well, we're going to be in Olympia next week. I leave Tuesday, I come back Friday. So what we do every year is we meet with our legislators, and these are realtors from all over the state.
Okay,
we converge onto Olympia. We meet with our local legislators and basically tell them, look, leave real estate alone.
Yeah.
We want to protect your
it's helping
rights.
drive the market.
That's how we drive the
market.
Right, so we don't want to do anything to impact property owners' rights, your ability to do what you want on your property. We don't want to touch that. You touch that, and that starts skewing everything negatively with regards to the economy. So every year we go up there and we say, don't mess with real estate.
Except the one thing that they need to address is the Hearst decision.
Well, and that we are working on that.
Yeah.
That's on our agenda, and we want to fix the Hearst decision because that absolutely impacted negatively someone's right to do what they want on their rural. I can never say that word.
I know. I had trouble
It's
with
a
it
tough
earlier.
word.
I'm not going to say it again.
No. property.
Yeah.
So absolutely, we want to get that Hearst decision fixed, and we're not going to rest until we do.
Now, is Cynthia still the gal on doing the government affairs stuff?
Cynthia is still on government affairs.
okay.
We have Lee McIntyre, who is our chair this year.
Okay.
But they are, I tell you, our government affairs committee here locally, they are so passionate and they are so dedicated.
So often people, the public will think, oh, yeah, they're just there to protect their own rear
Oh,
end.
my.
And the fact is you're there to protect us as buyers and sellers and owners of homes.
Absolutely.
That's really what it's about, because we as individuals aren't going to watch and keep track of what's going on.
That's right.
So
That's right.
will you guys come in after that? I know you're going to do
You
a
bet.
program on
Yep,
it, but
yep.
let's come on the live
Yep.
program and kind of catch up after your trip next
Yeah,
week.
we
maybe in
get
a couple
back
weeks.
Friday, a week from Friday.
Yeah, well, so maybe in 2 weeks or
Sure.
so. Okay. Ken, thanks for all you're
You
doing.
betcha.
And,
Thanks for
and
having
Happy
me.
New Year.
Happy
all right?
New Year to you.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Last year alone, Avista customers saved over 53 million kilowatt hours of energy. Enough to power more than 4,000 homes for an entire year. Way to save, everyone. Way to save. Find your way to save at avistautilities.com.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
To find the right home for you, you'll work with your realtor to compare the properties you're interested in, analyze the market, and figure out a reasonable offer price. And now, here you are, ready to make an offer. Yay, you! Here's how it works. First, you'll complete an offer sheet, which your realtor will then present to the owner. Sometimes, a nice note to the owner can help your offer stand out. Butter them up. Tell them how much you love their garden, that it reminds you of gardening with your grandmother as a child. Do not mention you're gonna bulldoze it and put in a pool. The owner may accept the offer, reject it, or counter. It's important to be in close contact with your realtor during the negotiation process so any changes can be reviewed. Your realtor is like your consigliere, and that makes you the Don. Once your offer is finally accepted, there are usually some contingencies that must be met in order to keep the contract alive. Inspections are totally common in real estate transactions. They include termite checks, surveys to determine boundaries, appraisals to determine value for lenders, title reviews, and structural inspections. This stuff is mind-numbingly fascinating. But you know what's even more fascinating? Actually getting your new house.
Well, welcome back to Spokane Talks Live, and my guest is Philip Tyler. Philip, Happy New Year to you. Last time I think I saw you was under a little bit of different circumstances. And let's give a little backstory to this. Back in the end of November, your son Devin
Yes,
committed suicide.
correct.
And I've told this story to a couple people that I sent you a note knowing that you would be inundated from all kinds of friends and so forth. And my note said two things. One is, I don't know what to say, okay, which I learned in the program we did here is okay
It's
to say,
okay.
okay?
Yeah.
I mean, I learned a lot. We'll get to that program. The other thing is let's turn this into something that helps prevent others from going through what you've had to go through as being a father, but also the loss of a life, okay, as precious as that is, you know. And I said, when you're ready, give me a holler, let's talk. Your email came back, or your text, I don't remember which it was, within an hour or so, and said, I'm ready to do it now, Kent. And so literally a week later, you were in here. We had a psychologist in here.
Dr. Matt Layton.
And
yes.
we had Sulani, who does our Better Health program, who was not going to be back here in the studio until about this time because she had rotator cuff surgery, who said, "You will not leave me out of this conversation, Kent." There's some personal reasons for that. And so I literally that day had to go out to Reardon to pick her up and bring her in because she couldn't drive. The doctor said she could drive a couple miles to church and back, but she couldn't come all the way into Spokane and so forth. We did a program. We had over, I think, 2,000, I haven't looked recently, 2,000 views. I've gotten some very positive, and I think you too have gotten some very positive feedback. Sulani is going to be back here in the Better Health chair in about 2 weeks. But I did not want to let the follow-up process go dormant for a while. And so we can talk about a lot of things, and I'm open to that. But I want to kind of bring our viewers up to date and personally me on how things are going, because as I continue to say, I can only barely imagine. I really can. And I'm sit here and I look at you and I still have a hard time expressing myself because I feel a little bit of the pain, but nothing I know compared to you. But how are you doing?
You know, I'm glad you asked that because that's one of the most important things you can ask for families that are going through what we were going through, is asking how they're doing. And we're doing okay. You know, every day is there's ups and downs.
Yeah.
But we're making it through. You know, we make sure we talk about Devin. We make sure we say his name. We make sure we found a support group.
Okay.
And that support group is different for many different people. You know, for me, it's been yourself. It's been my wife. It's been my in-laws, Jan and, you know, Dick and Judy and Jim and Levon. We've talked to one another. We realize that, you know, we're stronger together than alone.
Yes.
And so we're making it. You know, it's been an unusual holiday season for us.
I'll bet.
But one of the things that it has done is it made us realize the true importance of the holiday season. You know, it's not gift. It's not capitalism and spending the most money you can.
Yeah,
it is spending
exactly.
time with people who you care about and love and making sure they know that.
I was working on our newsletter that will go out later today or tomorrow morning to our sponsors and so forth. And my point in hope you had a happy new year to everybody and that you had family time. And I literally was thinking of you as I wrote that, going, oh my gosh, not all of us have all of our family here anymore. And it can be that circumstance. It could be somebody deployed,
sure,
and a number of other things. And it just, I mean, it hits me in little ways like that. And so, gosh, so what are you doing now? What comes next, Phil?
Well, what we're doing is really trying to bring awareness to this issue and really making sure that others that are out there struggling with this epidemic, and I believe it's an epidemic, families that are suffering through this know that they're not alone.
Yes.
And we've really been graced in this community where we have really wonderful partners. Spokane Talks Online, you know, our police department, our chaplains, and just our friends. And I'm lucky enough to work for a great employer, Gonzaga University, that's doing wonderful things on campus, right? They're working with a foundation called the JED Foundation.
Okay.
And this foundation, and I brought a piece of literature here, is really designed, it's a nonprofit, to protect the emotional health and prevent suicide for our nation's teens and young adults.
Yes.
And they're doing it specifically on campus because they know how stressful campus is, but, you know, it can back up to the high school ages as well. So that's really what I want to do, and just connecting with those out there that have unfortunately, you know, been made part of this team that no one wants to be a part of.
Right.
The loss of a family member.
Yeah, it's one of those issues you really don't want to take up.
For sure.
I mean, you wish you didn't have to take it up. And are you finding other people joining you?
Yes. The outpouring from the Spokane community is wonderful.
Yeah.
So for whatever you want to say about the Spokane community, it's bad. It's not as good as it used to be. In times of tragedy,
yes. Yeah.
Our true spirit comes out.
Really, any time of need.
Sure.
You see it with people who have had their car stolen or
absolutely
all of those kinds of things. And I'm not comparing a car stolen to a life lost, but I mean just the crises that we see in a community, and you're going to have them. I don't care what size community you are. But Spokane has traditionally stepped up, hasn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. And you realize that there's more commonality that we have in this suffering, you know, of loss that we realize, but we don't do a good enough job of it, save this platform, of talking about it. And once we bring it out there and remove that stigma from it, Ken, I think it starts that healing process.
You know, the day you were doing that, Steve, who runs this program, produces it from the booth in there and so forth, as soon as he knew we were going to do it, said, I'm coming in and I'm not charging you. I mean, everybody kind of did that because we all believed that there was a message that we could get out. I'm not sure what it was going into it, but I knew let's deal with this and get this out there. I'll have to tell you, standing and you know, I was in the studio during the program. I'll have to tell you, I learned so much. I learned that there are more suicides than homicides in our country.
Sadly.
Those kinds of things that maybe those that are into the system and follow it probably knew. But as every Joe citizen, I didn't realize that. To hear you and, was it Michael?
Matt, Dr. Matt Layton.
Yeah, Matt, talk about it's okay if you stumble and don't know what to say, because I was feeling so guilty about that. I made a point just personally of knowing that everybody in the world was going to surround you for a while, and made a point in my mind, and we can talk about the validity of whether it works up here or not, was to get in touch with you after the first of the year, because I figured during the holidays and stuff, you had family and you had friends that were all there and so forth. But like so many tragedies, we often then, months down the road, move on to the next issue. And I don't want us, me personally, but us at STO, to move down the road. And so I know in talks that we've had with Sulani and so forth, we're going to continue this discussion. I'd like to bring in some people who are others with you that are dealing with it and so forth, and to promote where people can get help. I just was told yesterday that somebody who was in our studio a few weeks ago tried to commit suicide again. Wow. So it's not something that is out there for others.
Right. Those people.
Yeah, yes. It's us people.
Absolutely.
It's you. It was Sulani who lost her cousin, I think it was, and others. We all have that somewhere in our family or close friends.
Sure.
So you'll continue to come back and we'll continue this conversation.
Absolutely.
What else is, let's get up just for the last couple minutes, what else is going on in the community that you're involved with?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we're still working with the Peaceful Communities Roundtable.
Okay.
Yeah, and our group of about 16 eclectic, diverse groups that are coming together and trying to create a more beloved community here in Spokane. Yeah. We have a new group forming with someone that you might know, Tom MacArthur.
Yes.
You'll be hearing about it. Spokane Plus One.
Okay.
What one person can do to change the life or impact a life of another person. Is this part of the little
campaign I've been seeing?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, and those things work as a multiplier.
Yes.
One person can only do so much, but 1 + 1 + 1 really can make a difference in our community.
Yeah.
So those are big things. And then as we repair, you know, mentally and emotionally, some bigger things are waiting out there for us as well.
Yeah, the political stuff is off to the side for right now, right?
Temporarily.
Yes. Yeah, temporarily. Yes. Okay.
But one of the things that my son, Devin, wanted most more than anything was to vote for his father. I won't let that pass.
Okay. All right. You're going to follow through with that promise, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Great. Philip, as always, good to have you here.
Thank you again.
I hope the coffee was okay.
Nice.
All right. Thanks for watching today. We'll have a good program next week. Philip, again, thank you. And our other guests, Ken Saxon, Kirsten Davis from Better Business Bureau and Spokane Association of Realtors. Have a great week, everybody. See you next week.
Spokane Talks Live is produced in Spokane, Washington by Spokane Talks Online, LLC, which is solely responsible for its content. To recommend a guest or topic, or to see this program again, please visit our website, SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Spokane Talks Live is brought to you by our friends at Homes for You and Breakthrough Incorporated. Join us next Wednesday, noon, for another nourishing conversation on Spokane Talks Live.